in the current time is the development of AI. But 20 years ago, it was the development of the mobile phone. 20 years before that was the development of the personal computer. And I'm sure 10 years from now, there'll be other things that'll emerge, all built on one another. So technology is always going to change, and the unknown in healthcare is always going to be there. So in the end, healthcare is always going to be, especially providing better care, is always going to be what I call a growth industry or a growth potential, no matter what you do. And so I think that's very important to keep that in mind, but there's no maturity here. And often when I talk to hospitals and so on, or doctors and what I would call my previous customers, there was this sense that it is what it is. And you just got to accept that things will change, and be careful what you get, and that's extremely important. And the second thing that I'll say is that in healthcare, the whole goal of healthcare is to improve outcomes, and outcomes can be either prevention of further disease, or it can be curing diseases, or it can be treatment and surgical procedures. That's what outcomes are. But at the end of the day, healthcare is not building a hospital; it's making someone better. It's curing somebody. It's the all these other things are tools. And so, no matter what investment is made in healthcare, a line of sight as to how that investment will actually improve someone's health or a country's health is actually extremely important. And you will find that when you do that, then many other factors need to be invested in. So you can build hospitals, but if you don't train doctors, the hospitals are not utilized properly. Or if you don't have an adequate referral chain, you either get overcrowding, or in some countries, in places, you can even get underusage of hospitals. So that's the first thing, that outcome and outcome measurement has to be the primary focus in healthcare, because that's what healthcare is about. And that includes prevention as well as curing. The second thing is, you're going to figure out a way to provide access. But to provide access, you need to make sure that the dots are connected. And no matter what investment you make, you've got to have a line of sight to an improved outcome of a population, of an individual, of a disease state. Otherwise, you're not spending your money properly. So this access has to be provided. Now, if you provide access and improve outcomes, cost actually goes down. If by investing in healthcare, in early healthcare, you reduce hospitalization, your cost goes down. The cost of healthcare does not go up. And so better healthcare will reduce healthcare cost. And so I think just wanting investment in healthcare is not the right way to think about it. The right way to think about it is, what will the result be? And what will the return on this investment be in financial terms, but equally importantly, in patient outcome? So outcomes, access, and costs are three fundamental things in healthcare. The other thing that I'd briefly is that, especially technology and healthcare, I've learned as I've worked in healthcare technology companies, and I've worked in technology companies themselves. Like I was on the board of Intel. Now, here's the difference. In the technology world, you build a product, and the market is created by your consumers. The consumers buy the product, and they do what they want to do with it. You're done once the technology is done, and that's not easy. It's expensive and all that stuff. But once you've completed it, you work on the next technology. The difference in healthcare is that you can create technology, but its utilization requires training, it requires adoption, it requires understanding. And in many ways, acceptance of products in the marketplace is almost as difficult, I'd say more difficult, than the creation of the product itself. Technology is not trivial. It is complex and complicated, and a lot of effort is needed. But once you've proven the technology, you've got intellectual property, you've demonstrated it, it's not going to change. You understand it. It's basically facts and science. Even after you do a clinical trial, you may have unknowns during the trial, but once the trial is done, you know the result, and that's fixed. But when you now take a product and try to put it into the marketplace, you have to train physicians. And every physician in every country requires a different kind of training. And there'll be a different level of acceptance. There'll be a different referral chain. You can train physicians per our patients coming in. So, there's a whole big aspect to healthcare in what I call market creation. And then every so often you get something called disruption. In other words, the market is there and suddenly technology comes in and changes the way in which healthcare is delivered. An example that I know of when I was at Medtronic is that I think many of you know what a pacemaker is. It's something like the tradition is about this kind of size, this kind of size, and it's put in your chest, and there's leads that go into the heart, and that paces the heart, sends electrical signals to the heart, and if the heart's not beating properly, it kind of makes it beat correctly. This whole thing was changed through technology work, where that whole device became the size of a little pill, and this pill had little hooks on it, and you put the pill in through with the catheter and inserted it in the heart, removed the catheter. There were no leads. There was no other training. This pill, this little thing, which is called micra, like stays there. That's a disruption. In other words, the market's already there, the doctor's already there. Something that technology has come along that changes the way in which things are done, either cheaper or better or improvement, but it's obvious. So that's the way in which healthcare has to be thought about. Let me say a few words about AI as well. When you talk about AI in technology, there's really three sort of categories of AI. The first is machine learning, and that actually has been here for a long time. This is nothing new. And through that, you get what is called predictive AI. So you use machine learning and also deep learning, and through that you predict certain things using artificial intelligence know-how. What has emerged in the last 5-6 years is generative AI, where that information is then used to create text and use messaging, and this can be images, it can be video, it can be sound, it can be other kinds of software as well. So that's called generative AI, and I think you've seen a lot of that. That's very, very well known. I think things like OpenAI and others are really have provided generative AI. You go in there, ask a question, and it gives you a reply. And so that reply is generated. So that's called generative AI. So machine learning is well established, been around for actually a couple of decades, and continues to grow, through which algorithms are used, through which AI is used to make predictions. Generative AI is using that sort of information to create text and communication. And then the third area of AI, which is still developing rapidly, I mean, the others are developing as well, but this one is in an earlier stage, it's called agentic AI. Here, what you do is you take different portions of a workflow and they're automatically joined together. So one bit communicates with another bit, and you create a whole big infrastructure that gets completely connected. This is pretty critical in areas like Bangladesh, and it could well one day become the ultimate sort of game changer or disruptor in the country, because you can imagine that through things like agentic AI, you could take village diagnostics, and if one day you'll have sensors and so on in people, which will give signals that'll automatically go through, and perhaps you'll need a doctor who can quickly look at it. It was all done by itself, and automatically the data transforms to a record. If necessary, the referral happens. Everything starts to work automatically. That's what agentic AI will do, and it's used a lot beginning to be used a lot in industry, where different systems are being automated and connected without people being involved. So these are the three types of AI in the technology world, and in healthcare, like I explained, these are all very, very relevant. Now, in healthcare itself, AI can be used as a patient companion. One day you'll get sensors, you'll get ways of communicating with patients. Sensors will become cheaper, like watches, and other things like that. Or there could be other ways of communicating, where patient information and patient communication will be done automatically. If it's done automatically, there's automated, like generative AI will create texts, text messaging automatically. In that way, you can scale at a much higher level than any other way, which is very similar to the example that I gave you with the cell phone and and the telecommunication structure, how the cell phone became widely available and everyone started to use it. In the same way, AI one day could access automatically many more people, communicate through text, through generative AI very, very efficiently, and you don't need so many people anymore to be able to do that, train people to do that. So as a patient companion, AI will be a big thing. It'll also be a physician assistant, where the physician will not have to write reports so much, and instead they can do the work on diagnostics. The report will be automated. There'll be better diagnostic tools, which will be connected with each other. There will also be automated question and answer and so on. Then there's back office automation, where back office of hospitals and other systems can get automated more. And there may well be other kinds of productivity that come out of this. So these are the ways in which AI will be and technology will be applied in healthcare. And you can imagine that all of these eventually will go into the world in different ways. Now, I'm going to finish by just stating that there's some broad areas of application in healthcare. Like I mentioned, the first is more accurate diagnosis and patient management. But over time, I believe that there will also be what I call closed loop patient management. Today, patients are treated based on the clinical trial data. And clinical trials are done through a collection of patients, several hundred or thousand patients. And but every patient is not the same. Every patient is different. As more and more data gets available, then AI will be used to optimize treatment per patient. If you're given the dose, a drug of some sort, to treat a certain disease, you're given a certain dosage. And that dosage is based on an average of other people like you, and based on an average assumption of what your activities and other things that you do will be like, what your diet will be like, and everything else, some kind of generic assumption. Nothing's exactly the same. Two people are never exactly the same. They don't do exactly the same things all the time. And so if you put enough sensors, which are now coming around, and automated communication with the patient, you'll find that the dosage perhaps can be optimized per patient per day. And that's going to happen. And that's what I call closed loop treatment. You may get automated sensors. I know in the medical device world and more advanced treatments, like to treat Parkinson's and things like that, you're getting signals back automated from the brain, which then changes the way in which stimulation is done in a certain device, which is automated regularly, depending on received data from the body itself. But that's a complex kind of a result. Diabetes, for example, you could optimize your insulin dosage depending on your sugar levels, which may vary not only depending on what you eat, but also your activity. And you can avoid overdosing, and you can certainly avoid underdosing. Blood pressure management can have the same thing, where again, fixed amount is given for people with blood pressure, and sometimes it's too high. People get dizzy, they fall, they hit their head, and it strokes. All kinds of problems can happen because they were overdosed, or they could be underdosed. But through blood pressure measurement methods, maybe that method can one day be optimized. So those are two areas where technology will be used in healthcare. And you can imagine that when these are used in rural settings, it'll be cheaper, more accessible, easier, more automated. And like I said, the cell phone to land phone comparison in healthcare may well come about through the usage of AI. The two other areas where I think, two other categories where I think technology and AI will make a dramatic impact. One is in the drug discovery process. When you come up with a new drug today, it takes a long time. Typically, only a few percent of the investment that a drug company makes actually results in a drug. Now, that drug is obviously sold and all that stuff, and is financially able to support that. But through AI and through technology, this process may well become much more efficient. And finally, you'll get better operational efficiency across the healthcare system. A lot through agentic AI, where things will connect together automatically, and both within hospitals and in early stage diagnosis and the connection of diagnosis to hospitals, this can well happen. Um, the other thing I'm going to say is that the application of healthcare is actually extremely important. There's wellness and prevention first. That's the most important piece where you want, where if you do it there, then healthcare becomes cheaper and better and people stay most healthy. But you won't be able to hit that 100%, obviously, and you can get chronic disease. And chronic disease patients are being managed in a certain way through certain behavior, uh, early stage drugs using the methods that I just talked about. Then you get acutely chronic, where patients are being monitored clinically more effectively, and regular monitoring may well be important. If that fails, then you need hospitalization or some kind of a treatment or procedure. And then after the treatment, there's the recovery process, which is equally important because once the treatment is done, I think one of the main goals has to be that the patient doesn't come back to the hospital. And one of the things that's missing in healthcare is once the patient is released, no one really automatically looks after the patient, and prevention of rehospitalization is not always a major goal. It may be a philosophical goal, but it's certainly not a financial goal, and it's certainly not one that's embedded in the system. To do this, periodic checkups at home is best for wellness and prevention. For chronic care, regular visits by primary care and early stage monitoring. For acutely chronic, you really do need at home monitoring. And in hospital care, obviously, can also be improved through technology. And then finally, very acute at home monitoring for post acute. These are the things that really have to be done in healthcare in general. I think I'm going to stop right there. I've said enough. I could give some examples, more specific examples of where technology is currently being used. But let me just close right there. I've given you reflection about how technology can be used in healthcare and how healthcare itself can change. And at some point, I don't know when the time will be, but I do think the comparison between the cell phone and the landline will come across in healthcare, and it'll be most applicable actually to the developing world, to underdeveloped countries, where there'll be a dramatic change in healthcare, and
Thank you
that
so
change
much,
will be
Mr. Omar
geared around
Ishraq.
happiness.
Thank you
Okay.
so much for joining us today. Can we have a big round of applause for a true legend with us today? Next up, we have a super exciting session. And before that, I want to check the energy of the room. So could I hear a loud and bright hello from everyone? That was ill-timed. I'll give you a better chance. I'll give you a count of 3 and then a really loud, energetic hello that does not show signs of you've just had lunch and are ready for a nap. 1, 2, 3. Amazing, great. So up next, we have an amazing lineup for this plenary session 4, which is on preparing our systems and infrastructure for challenges, health, education, nutrition, and beyond. Please allow me to welcome on stage Mr. AKM Moinuddin Chaudhary, Managing Director of Gramin Kollan, Bangladesh. Can we have a round of applause, please? He'll be moderating this amazing session. And as for the speakers, allow me to introduce Mr. Mitsuru Izumo-san, founder and president of Uglina Co. Limited and chairman of Uglina GG Limited, Japan. Next, we have Mr. Dipesh Nag, managing director of Gramin Danone Foods Limited from Bangladesh. Please welcome Sharifa Sophia, trustee of Al Bukhari Foundation, Malaysia. Can we have a round of applause, please? Next, we have Ms. Silvana Kader Sinha, Chair of Board, Prava Health, Bangladesh. And then we have Frederico Fizas Vital, the Executive Director at Católica Lisbon Unis Social Innovation Center, as well as the Adjunct Professor of Social Entrepreneurship and Social Innovation, Católica Lisbon School of Business and Economics, Portugal. Can we have a round of applause, please? And last but not the least, Professor Faiz Shah, Executive Director of Yunus Center, Asian Institute of Technology, and President of Yunus Thailand, from Thailand. Over to you.
Do we have Mr. Faisha? Yes. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We are with the plenary session 4. Our topic is preparing our systems and infrastructure for challenges that goes for health, education, and nutrition, even beyond. We have some exciting speakers with us, and most of them you know, but I would still take the privilege to introduce. First is Mr. Mitsuru Izumu, the founder and president of Yuglena Company Limited, Honorable Chairman Gramin Yuglena. And yesterday we have seen how wonderfully he speaks. So do you want me to ask you questions in Bangla? Anyway, he's a
this time English, please.
Entrepreneur using macroalgae Euglena to combat malnutrition and promote sustainability, inspired by a life-changing visit to Bangladesh. After that, we have Ms. Silvana Kader Sinha, the chair of the board, Prava Health. Hi, it's been a long time, but we have spoken a lot. She's the founder of Prava Health. She's a Harvard-trained leader, leading revolutionizing digital integrated healthcare in Bangladesh and mentoring global social impacts. Welcome. Then we have Professor Faiz Shah, the founder and president, Yunus Thailand, and also the executive director, Yunus Center, EIT. Welcome. Professor Faiz is the development veteran and educator, heading global social business programs and capacity building initiatives with over 45 years of experience across 500 projects and grassroots change makers. That's amazing. Wonderful. Next, we have Dipesh Nag, the managing director, Gramin Dental Foods Limited, who is also a seasoned global executive known for transforming nutrition operations in Asia and Europe with deep experience in supply optimization, governance, and performance culture. Dipesh, welcome. Then we have Mr. Federico Fizes Fittel, who is the executive director of Católica Lisbon Yunus Social Innovation Center, a change maker in Europe's social innovation landscape, leading systematic impact through education, mental health coalitions, and sustainability leadership. Welcome. And last, we have Ms. Sharifa Sofia, who is also the trustee of Al-Bukhari Foundation. Welcome, Sofia. Economist and development expert, driving educational equity with research roles for the UN and Gates Foundation, and leadership in scholarship policy at Al-Bukhari International University. I just made it very, brief for all of you. I know you have a very big status, but let's start the conversation. To start with, I will start with Mr. Izumu. Mr. Izumu, you are a very successful businessman. Let's hear a little bit about your Gramin Yuglena in Bangladesh.
Shobaike, assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for having me the super great opportunity to share what we do. And yesterday I said that my journey begins truly here in a beautiful country, Bangladesh, 27 years ago. And 2014, we created the joint venture company with Gramin Krish Foundation, or Gramin Yuglena, and tackling for solving the malnutrition issue in Bangladesh. Because 27 years ago, I visited Bangladesh, and I was an internship student of Grameen Bank, and I saw the real poverty issue here. And I promised to myself, so I'd like to solve the malnutrition issue, then I bring the very nutritious, miraculous microorganism euglena, bring from Japan to Bangladesh, and provide so many 20 million euglena biscuits, euglena school lunch to the student since 2014.
Wonderful. So my question to you is now, you created Euglena nutrition biscuits for children in Bangladesh. How do you plan to scale this up in Bangladesh? You want to say something about that?
Yeah, thank you for the great, important question, Mr. Moinuddin Chaudhry. Our scaling strategy is built on leveraging our proven track record from the past 11 years of the Euglena biscuit delivering program, as I said, combined with strategic support from the Japanese government. So here's how we plan to scale up. We want to transition from working with informal school to partnering directly with the Bangladesh government's official school lunch initiative. This is the perfect timing because Bangladesh, your country, has just approved its national school meal policy in 2019, aiming to reach 14 million children by 2030. And what makes this exciting is that Japan's strong commitment to supporting Bangladesh nutrition programs. Japan has provided over 3 billion USD in nutrition-related assistance globally, and specifically to Bangladesh, to your country. Japan recently contributed 3.2 million USD for food security programs. Then I believe our school lunch programs' proven results make it an ideal candidate for Japanese government support as Bangladesh expands its school feeding coverage. So my answer is that by combining our 11 years of experience and the Japanese government strategic support, we can scale from reaching thousands to potentially millions of Bangladeshi children.
Thank you so much. You're doing a great job for Bangladesh, and I hope everyone will be benefited with your this gracious service. Next, we go back to Ms. Silvana. Silvana, many of us know what Prava Health is, but there are a few who probably need to understand what Prava Health is. Do you want to say a little bit about Prava Health, and we start with the question?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Moin Bhai. And it's really an honor to be here with so many people who are creating impact in so many inspiring ways. So I am the founder and chair of the board of Prava Health. Prava is a one-stop shop for high-quality, affordable healthcare for Bangladesh's middle class. What that means is we've combined technology and infrastructure meaningfully to provide an end-to-end solution for patients. That includes primary care, secondary care, labs, imaging, and pharmacy. And everything is available both in clinic as well as remote or virtually we built Bangladesh's first patient app. And, it's really my strong belief that we need to invest both in high quality infrastructure and in technology to be able to leapfrog some of the legacy systems that exist in healthcare. I don't think technology alone can solve our problems, because across low and middle income countries, actually, more people are dying due to lack of access to quality healthcare than lack of access alone. So Prava to date has served nearly 1 million patients in Bangladesh, and I'd like to think we're just getting started.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and we have seen how Prava is providing services in Dhaka City as well. So what's your plan to serve the rural people, and any plans that you want to scale it up around that place? Because most of the rural people need the best quality of diagnostic services as well as the consultancy services also.
Yeah.
What's your thought about that?
So to be honest, our business model is centered around urban health. There's actually evidence that rural women, for example, know more about family planning than women in the urban setting in countries like Bangladesh. Countries that have quickly entered into middle income status and suddenly have middle class lifestyles, we often see a missing middle problem. We see this even in some of the richest countries in the world, is that the middle class is often left behind. So we are really focused on urban health. That being said, our high quality lab, which is one of only 11 international standard labs in this country, actually collect samples from almost all of Bangladesh's districts. And so we are analyzing blood samples for patients all over the country. But the vertical integration of the model that includes the primary care, the secondary care, and the diagnostics and pharmacy, that really is focused on the urban setting. I totally agree with you that rural patients deserve access to high quality healthcare they can trust. But we are building a business. We are, focused on the middle class to generate the kinds of returns that we and our investors expect. But it's my great hope that we'll make a lot of money and we can, set up a foundation and also offer kind of cross-subsidy models, which we already do in some ways, actually. We're partnered, for example, with Shokti Foundation and others on the nonprofit side, where we offer our testing at cost to be able to serve a broader segment of the population. So we're testing out in these other ways to be able to serve more patients, but the core business model is around urban health.
That's wonderful to know. I'm sure with your services going to the rural areas, a lot of people will be benefited, especially the people who cannot afford the right treatment in the right place. Thank you so much. So we're moving on to the next speaker, Professor Faiz, and a true leader in Thailand who has been carrying the torch of Professor Yunus in terms of social business. Dr. Faiz, you want to say something about your recent medical tourism in Thailand? We just saw a few hours back that you have been talking about that, and I'll be glad to know more about that.
Yes, thank you, Moin Bhai. That actually just throws my script out of the water, because I had prepared for talking about systems challenges and changes in infrastructure. But let me first start with the example that you just saw with Shuki. One of the things that brought me to medicine and then to wider work with Professor Yunus's enterprise-led development issues was the challenge of scale. When you come up with some excellent solutions, when you come up with some technology, when you come up with certain thinking that transforms a particular environment or an ecosystem, the biggest challenge is how would you scale it, right? So one thing that has happened in the last decade or so has been this enormous impact of information technology on most everything we do, which has then been tested through COVID to come up with some really effective solutions where technology can bridge distances, affordability, access, sustainability, and viability. So the example that you just saw with Shuki is one such example. As I said in my comment during that session, applying information technology to creating access in healthcare is not new. It's happening. But it's only benefiting, relatively speaking, a smaller cohort of people. When we democratize and mainstream technology, we call it impact technology. Now, information technology, if nothing else, is impact technology. It sits in our pockets, it sits basically everywhere we are. And if we are not optimizing it to really create large-scale impact, then it's not the fault of the technology, it's really the challenge that we haven't overcome. So Shuki was one example where we realized that the very rich can get overseas medical care. They don't really have to worry about too much about the resources and the money and the access. But it's the middle class that would like to get healthcare at a global quality, but would like to scale it to an affordable level. So this kind of thinking it's not the technology, neither is it the market, nor is it the product. It is the thinking that drives the decisions that form this kind of solutions. So this was one example. I'm glad you raised it. But I think if we continue to use this thinking, where we use technology and build capacity where people can benefit from it in large numbers, I think the thinking is where we need to build, work on, and that probably something I can touch on in my next question, if there is time.
Thank you so much. One more question to you. I'm not leaving you now.
This is my time for my script now.
All right. So, we have been saying that Yunus Talent have really played a big role in having a lot of projects. As you say, you've had almost 500 projects that you have really done. Tell us about the impact that it had in Thailand on social business.
500 projects in 45 years. So it's not that many. This has been a long journey. Started in 1979, with the Red Cross, where, and this is a story I would like to tell, Moin Bhai. There was a time when blood was very hard to get. There were no donor programs. The Red Cross wanted to create one, because when people went into surgery and they needed blood, often they ended up buying blood from professional donors who had drug problems, who had all kinds of nutritional deficiencies, and also sometimes they carried pathogens in their blood. And it was quite a risky business in the 70s in Pakistan, where you couldn't go off and just buy blood and get a Day 1 injected with it, and then next thing you knew, they were in direr straits than they entered. So we created a kind of a very interesting solution where I was in student politics, so we had access to a lot of data, handwritten records of where students lived and what they did, what years and in college. So we asked the administration to actually reveal to us the blood groups of the various people that were on the database in our university. And of course, this is privileged information. So it took administrative decision for us to get access to blood groups of people. And then through a series of permission cycles, we enrolled a lot of donors, voluntary donors who were students, young, healthy people. And once they wrote up that they were ready to become blood donors, their data were made available to our group. And we linked it to the hospital system, where when, say, O negative is needed, we were probably the only informal group in that city of 9 million that knew exactly where those O negatives lived if they were students in a university. So this is just an example, and it became quite a successful thing. The professional donors kind of had a setback, government recognized it, and so on. The reason I talk about this is an illustrative story of how the thinking that drives decision is more important than what the solution is. Blood was available. Blood is still available. But connecting it to a student population of willing, healthy donors is where the thinking worked. The rest basically becomes easy to do. Give you another quick example from a more recent time, working with Kyushu University. I know Dr. Ashir is going to be here. Dr. Maroof is not going to be here, but through the pioneering work that Ashir and his team did in Kyushu, they came up with an algorithm called the Portable Health Clinic. We all know that, right? It's part of our day-to-day conversations.
Yes.
But what my team in Thailand did was, we took the Portable Health Clinic algorithm, of course through permissions and collaborative arrangements with Kyushu, and now we have something called the Genki project in AIT, where every 6 months, students wanting to get a health profile can get what we call health maps. The 17 parameters of the health check are plotted on a circle. And any place there is a dent in the circle is where the student knows they need to either go to a doctor, get a test done, or change lifestyle or nutrition or something. So every 6 months, a team of students will walk in. They will co-pay a small amount of money to the university healthcare system. They will get a check and they will get a health map. The student will know how to improve their life choices, their nutrition, or go to medical care. The university will know where to put their insurance money so that the costs of hospitalization and tertiary care, which is very expensive, can actually be brought down. through investments in primary or preventive healthcare. Two examples. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you, that solutions are not difficult. It's the entrepreneurial thinking that directs a lot of these solutions. And so if you ask me what we have been able to do in all these projects, or we are doing, you've heard Callum this morning, you've heard some of my other team colleagues talk to you about it. It's bringing entrepreneurial thinking to social challenges. And this strikes at the foundation of what Professor Yunus has been trying to tell us all these wonderful years, right? So thinking and then building capacity.
Thank you so much. I totally agree with you, and I'm sure those who are practicing healthcare, that you can save life if you can really prevent, right in the primary stage. And that's what I think Silvana is doing, you are doing, and we are all doing, our Grameen is doing as well. Well done, and really appreciate that. Coming back to Dipesh now. Dipesh is a very young leader in Grameen Group and leading Grameen Denon. Grameen Denon has been providing affordable, nutritious food to children in rural areas of Bangladesh. So Dipesh, tell us what key lessons that you have learned in building effective food distribution systems from your company.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, good afternoon to all. And this is a privilege for me to speak on this dais and in front of so many people who has been leading this movement of social business throughout the whole world, entire world. And coming back to the question is that the key points already a lot has been answered from Dr. Fayez. The reason is thinking is the key. While we operate in a country like Bangladesh, while the supply chain is very complicated and the social disparity is very high, then we are very much affected by all sort of challenges that we have, either it's economic or climatic. So having the right mindset of thinking in simplistic way and in a very adaptive way is key to drive any business in Bangladesh. If I consolidate my learning, if I may, in last 5 years, I can summarize it into 3 key points. Number 1 is build on resilience, not perfection. If we want to set up something which looks really nice and beautiful on paper, in countries like Bangladesh, it doesn't work. One of the key, what I was hearing in panel 2, in breakout session, which you are a part of there, Alex was talking about, there was a concept called clean your plate, and then they accumulate points through AI. Immediately while sitting in my desk, in my seat, I was thinking, if we roll out this in Bangladesh, people will come up with 100 creative ideas to skip the AI and then get the points. So we always have to be very alert in how adaptively we design our route to market and our distribution strategies. This is number 1. Number 2 is channel diversity is the key. So if we go for really traditional retail channel, due to all the adversity in the country, it disrupts quite often. So always having different channel strategy of working with like-minded impact creator NGOs, school, government, this really helps a lot. So in Grameen Danone, we follow dual model. One is we sell in the modern trade, the organized trades, and also we go through the retail channels as well. And finally, for a country like Bangladesh, affordability is a must. We cannot avoid this. So in last 2-3 years, we have launched a lot of products which is in the range of 5 to 10 taka, because the more affordable we can, the dual model of affordability and income impact can go hand on hand. Thank you.
That's wonderful, and I'm sure you'll succeed in that. So I'll come back to you again with some challenges you might have, so start preparing for that question. Before that, let me go back to Ms. Federico. Mr. Federico, it's really wonderful to hear that you've been working on mental health, a subject that most often people forget that needs to be addressed in most of the countries. I've also known that you work on this into the work areas. So in workplaces. Could you tell us what kind of thing that you do in that particular aspect? Because most of us will be very interested to learn, how do you do that in the workplace?
Hello. Well, this is a good voice. I've trained. Salam alaikum. Sorry for my pronunciation. Well, I work with mental health, but that's a secondary project actually. So my main job is with social innovation and with the Unicenter. But actually, I've been working with mental health, and it's still a social innovation subject because it's one of the most pressing issues that we face nowadays. What I've been doing with companies, I've been working with a group of 35 companies in Portugal. They're not all Portuguese. They're also multinational companies that have some base in Portugal, some business in Portugal. And what we've been trying to do together is develop not only research that can tell us more about the state of art of mental health in the workplace, how it is in other contexts, and try to bring the best practices, but also by exchanging the way that each company is dealing with the subject in the different stages of building a strategy, how they can help each other to do that. And it's very curious because we have corporations that are big corporations, we have small corporations, we have public corporations, private corporations, we have entrepreneurs, we have non-profits, and they're all working together, changing experiences on how to be more effective.
That's wonderful. So in the education sector, could you tell us that what are the lessons that probably you can transform into Bangladesh in that particular aspect?
Well, more than lessons, I mean, we have many challenges in education in Portugal, although we are in Europe, and Europe has a really high standard for education system. Actually, not only in Northern Europe, there's the myth that, we have very good systems in Northern Europe, but we have a lot of innovation in Southern Europe as well, Portugal, Italy, Spain, and so on. We have challenges, many of them related with, there are 4 pillars. I really appreciate one sentence, one quote of an activist from Pakistan, a young female called Malala. She has this sentence, this quote that goes, "One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world."
She's a Nobel laureate as well.
Yeah, and actually, these 4 things are 4 pillars of education, and we have challenges in all of them. So we have in the students, the children, we have problems and challenges in the teachers, in the infrastructure, which would be the pen, and in the pedagogy and the approach of innovation in pedagogy. So I would say that most of the challenges that we face are not in infrastructures. We have some problems with students, dropout rates. We still have very big dropout rates in some insular regions of Portugal, like Azores. We also have some inequalities coming from regional inequalities, but also socioeconomic inequalities. Actually, the PISA report of 2020 said that advantaged children have an advance of 3 scholar years of disadvantaged children, so this is serious. On the teachers' side, we have a lack of motivation, mental health, a lot of absenteeism, a lot of, it's difficult to be a teacher. But we also have a lack of attractiveness in the career, low salaries, low starting salaries, the incentives are not right, okay? The economic incentives are not right. So, having said so, there's a lot of room for social businesses to work. And when you asked me, because we talked about this before, we prepared, and when you asked me, I thought about one project that I think could have a fit with Bangladesh.
Yes.
And it's a Portuguese project that works in Mozambique. Its name is Girl Move, the Girl Move Academy. So they developed these programs of leadership for women in Mozambique. And why women? Why Mozambique? Well, Mozambique because it has a strong relationship with Portugal historically, and women because the numbers, when you look at the numbers, they're really worrying. Top leadership positions have less than 26% of women. There are a lot of women that don't go to school, around 30, 40%. So it's really worrying. So they developed this program in several stages. One for students between 17 and 30, more practical and at digital, and is based on a program of mentorship that's working really well. One second program that is meant for girls that are already having their impact projects and to promote those projects. And the last one is for career women that want to develop. And this has been working very well. And I think it's very replicable in the context of Bangladesh. And actually the good news is that Catholicism, the university where I work, has been in the process since the beginning, so we can connect you easily. So this is a challenge. If anyone wants to connect with Girl Move, I can easily build a bridge.
It's wonderful to see how you are replicating social business models in Portugal. So we're coming back to now Ms. Sharifa Sofia, who is the trustee of Al-Bukhari Foundation Malaysia. Ms. Sharifa, the Al-Bukhari Foundation supports education for underprivileged communities. And may we know from you how social business has impacted Al-Bukhari Foundation in Malaysia? Is your mic working? Oh.
I got one that's working.
No worries.
Thank you. Firstly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and I'm so happy to be here. The conversation on education was the perfect way to kind of segue into some of the work that we've done. So I would like to begin by introducing or reintroducing the Al-Bukhari Foundation. It was established in 1996 on the pillars of faith and compassion, and our core mandates are to build communities, to create opportunity through education, as well as preserve heritage. So naturally, social business covers 2 out of the 3 mandates of the Al-Bukhari Foundation, building communities and creating opportunity through education. The Al-Bukhari Foundation has adopted social business under the umbrella of our university, Al-Bukhari International University, located in Kedah. Besides research, the products of any university are its graduates. And at AIU, we define the DNA of our graduates to have 3 components. The first is they have to carry the 5A core values: adab, good manners; akhlaq, good character; akidah, faith and a moral compass; amanah, integrity and accountability; and amalan, practicing the above. The second component is our 8-hour rule. Every day has 24 hours, 8 hours for the day's education, 8 hours for the night's sleep, and 8 hours for helping others in need. And the third component of our DNA of our students is social business. So we encourage social business and innovation at the university. We recruit the brightest minds at the university, those who are driven by social change and impact. And we hope that they will be agents of change in their respective communities. Most of our students are on scholarship sponsored by the Al-Bukhari Foundation. And our intent while they're with us is to provide them with a toolbox that's tuned to social conscience, something that they can bring to their respective communities and create change. Through the curriculum, activities outside the classroom, as well as student competitions, all anchored on social business, we create an enabling environment for our students to launch social businesses. While the impact of social business might be contained within AIU at present, recall that 80% of our student population are international from 60 countries. So indirectly, we are planting the seeds of change in these 60 countries. At home, we also have the School of Education and Human Sciences. So we have 3 faculties, one of which is the School of Education and Human Sciences. And within this school, our students who will end up as primary school teachers spend some time in the local public schools in Kedah. And through this internship, we encourage them to start inculcating this 3-0 concept amongst the school's children. So that is how we are spreading 3-0s, not just within our university ecosystem, but in the wider Kedah. When Professor Muhammad Yunus was appointed as our inaugural chancellor, it reaffirmed our commitment to social business and strengthened our collective responsibility to deliver on this mandate. Moving forward, through collaboration with other universities, our community, and various stakeholders who share the same vision, mission, and purpose, We hope to have a wider and more structured impact on our community, not just in Kedah, but in Sabah and the rest of Malaysia, and hopefully beyond. AIU will be a regional reference point for social business, a place of knowledge sharing, collaboration, incubation of ideas, experimentation, and in the long term, we have also allocated some grants for research, all of which must contribute to at least one of the 3 zeros. I just want to highlight that this slide is for the second question, so if we can put it aside, that would be great.
She has a slide. You want to go forward and talk about the slide if you can?
It's
Or you can see.
No, we'll save it for
All right,
later.
thanks.
Yeah. So I just want to wrap up by saying that within AIU, we are piloting a phased approach to social business. So initially, we start at the university with awareness campaigns, and then we encourage our students to become social entrepreneurs. And now we're piloting an incubator. And if it works at the university, we're going to open it up to other university students as well as other social enterprises in the country. And I'll stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Al-Bukhari University, please give her a big hand for her. Al-Bukhari University also working with our Grameen Caledonian College of Nursing. We're receiving scholarships from there as well. Our deepest gratitude for that. Thank you very much. Coming back to Mr. Mitsuru Izumu, I would like to ask you a different question now, because in Bangladesh healthcare context, many people are suffering from food adulteration in Bangladesh. That is causing a lot of health challenges for everybody. Now, you are coming up with excellent ideas on nutrition that working in Bangladesh from Japan. Tell us, what is your future thoughts about this particular thing? That how can you help us reducing this disease? Can someone share the mic?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the great and very complicated question. Mr. Chaudhary, so you are absolutely right. So Bangladesh faces a very unique dual burden of malnutrition. The malnutrition among the poor and lifestyle diseases among the wealthy people. So I'd like to divide my answer into two parts. The first part is the food poisoning issue. So food adulteration issue. So let me start with the first half, the food adulteration issue, which requires systematic solutions. Japan, has faced very similar challenges. We experienced so many food poisoning issues and contamination problems that shock public trust in the early 1990s. And so this crisis led Japan to completely restructure our food safety framework and establishing the Food Safety Commission and implementing strict risk assessment protocols. So what we learned in Japan is that there is no simple solution to food safety issue. The key is building industry-wide standards and knowledge sharing system. And so next one in the second half is that, so yeah, I'd like to answer is that, so your observation about Bangladesh dual burden is very accurate, Chaudhary-san. Bangladesh has experienced very rapid economic growth. This has created two distinct challenges. For the poor, traditional malnutrition, and so which our Ugrena, a school lunch delivering program, addresses through basic nutrition support. And for the wealthy and urban populations, lifestyle diseases including heart disease or diabetes and obesity due to lifestyles and high-fat diets. So most importantly, we are getting too much oil and not enough fiber, dietary fiber. So if you love oil, you need to get a significant amount of fiber.
Absolutely.
So Euglena contains so much fiber that many people in Japan take it to lower their cholesterol levels. So I want to develop accessible Euglena-based products, very simple items like Euglena drinks or Euglena biryani that can easily become part of daily meals in Bangladesh. Just as Japanese consumers use Euglena for cholesterol control, we can help address both ends of Bangladesh nutrition spectrum. I mean, for the poor, continued nutrition support through our school lunch delivering program, and advanced wellness products in need for urban populations dealing with lifestyle diseases. So, and lastly, so I should one thing is that, so our Euglena product is halal. You know, our factory has been 100% so halal protocol, so please enjoy with confidence, Euglena. And so I believe we can contribute to healthier lives across all socioeconomic levels in Bangladesh.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now moving again to Ms. Silvana. Silvana, I have a question for you, which came from the audience. It's a very important question, and I really want to ask you this question. It's like, Bangladesh GDP depends on garments factories a lot because almost 90% of GDP depends on the garments industries. Now, a lot of workers, they don't get the proper diagnostic services. Do you have any plans to give them support?
We actually already do a lot of work with factories. So we actually have more than 2,000 corporate clients, including many of the large garment factories in Bangladesh. And so for many of those, we offer a range of different types of services. All of it is really focused around preventative care. For some factories, we offer hotlines, like 24-hour hotlines where they can call and talk to a doctor any time of day. For others, we do regular routine health checks. We'll come on site and do a health check routinely at the discretion of the HR departments, however frequently they want us to do it. We have a doctor that goes on site, a nurse that goes on site, often a physiotherapist for occupational help. And then, of course, we have a phlebotomist to collect the blood samples. And so the health check will be done, their blood work will be sent to our lab, and then there'll be a follow-up once the results of the blood work come out. So we do a wide range of services for those communities. And we actually love that work because many of those employees themselves might not feel they want to invest in preventative health care, right? At that level of income, they're often wait until the moment that they get sick to go to the hospital. But what we're seeing, which is a very positive trend, is that employers are understanding the value of investing in their employees' health. It's very clear that if you invest in employee health, you improve productivity, you reduce absenteeism, and eventually you improve your profitability as well. And so pre-COVID, about 2% of our revenues came from corporate clients. Today it's 30%. Wonderful. So Great. It's grown significantly. It's a very positive trend. And this is in contrast to the fact that the insurance industry has not grown at all. So that's a challenge that I think we face in our country, but employers are solving for it by paying for healthcare directly.
That's wonderful. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Professor Faiz, I'm going to ask you a very general question. If I ask you to choose one important thing that will change the world, what will be your statement in terms of systems, of the challenges of the infrastructure and systems?
Well, this pause is because I don't have an answer. The one most important thing, it's relative, but I think I'll go back to what I said before, that no matter what happens around us, what we see, the difference between things getting done and things not getting done is capacity. What we don't invest in enough is capacity in people to take advantage of so many opportunities that continuously appear around us. So I know it is not the one thing as perhaps one would commonly understand, But what I see, the one thing that's lacking in some of the work we do is the depth of competence. And as you see that this panel comprises people, fortunately, of people who have invested in competence, in capacity, in deepening the human ability to respond to challenges or take advantage of innovative opportunity. So if we can somehow create more and more formulas through which we can take people from, say, a place of low capacity to a place of high capacity, you will see that transformational trends will begin to show. It's just, it sounds very simple, but this takes generations to do. It starts with very hard investments in infrastructure, in knowledge, what we call knowledge infrastructure, in learning environments, and then connecting them to business opportunities. This is the abiding message that at least I have fortunately learning from Professor Yunus in the last 15, 16 years. Capacity must be linked to the market, because we all know that the market is the only device known to human society that can create wealth. Everything else costs money. Enterprise creates the wealth that creates the money. So connecting human capacity to markets is probably the one thing that I would like to see expand
Thank
in
you.
our world.
Thank you so much. I think I'll go back to Dipesh with a small question. Dipesh, I know you have a lot of challenges. If you're given an opportunity in Bangladesh to change one system, what would you change?
So I would
And be
focus
a bit brief if you don't
very
mind.
briefly,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
briefly. So I would focus like sharing the capacity and utilize the power of ecosystem. Like there are many players who have enough capacity and access to market, and if all these players in the market can work together and develop the system, helping each other, the context of the Bangladesh will be changed. And if I think about one thing I would change for the world is
Yep.
I would make access to nutrition as a basic right
That's wonderful.
rather than having it as a privilege, because a nourished child is going to change the context of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Federico, before that, can we have a big hand for Dipesh, what he wants to change? I wish you could do that in future. Federico, the same question goes to you. What would you change?
Okay, the same question. Can I change like 4 or 5 things or?
Yes. You can change as many as you want.
Okay, I'll choose one. I think we should really redesign the way we learn. And about the system that I would change would be definitely education. When we look at the problem trees of all the social, environmental challenges we have, we always have a root related with education, lack of access to education, lack of quality education, so on and so forth. So I think it's the most important system to change. And one of the biggest change, two. Can I have two? Okay.
Yes,
So
please.
the first one is to get in love with the questions, not so much with the answers. So that means applying it to social innovation, social businesses, falling in love with the problems and not with the
Yes.
solutions.
It's wonderful.
So this was the first point. And the second point would be to bring empathy into the design.
How important.
Yes, because then you will create change makers and people that design systems in a different way. And I would say that. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that empathy thing because everyone needs that for us. Sharifa, going back to you, and what would you change if you are told to change something in terms of systems?
Sure, I think I would continue to invest my time, energy, and efforts in education, increasing access to education, good quality education to all corners of the globe. And I would like to add to that education, not in its conventional way, but something that's tuned to social conscience. So we want to provide the social business toolkit and a different way of thinking for anybody and everybody, so that their cognitive neighborhoods are not just confined to the environment that they grew up in.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just give them a very big hand. We have heard all the panel speaker today, and they're really fantastic in expressing themselves. Please give them a very, very big hand, and I would like to request Prometheus to come off stage and close this session. Thank you very much. Tommy, a photo session? Yeah. Let's have a photo session here, please.
Could we have another round of applause for that amazing plenary session? Thank you so much for all of your thoughts.
Thank
and
you
work.
all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Mr. Misru.
Next up, we have exciting updates from the Social Business Academia section. So allow me to introduce you to Professor Mahfouz Ashraf, Professor and Dean at Lincoln Institute of Higher Education, Sydney, Australia. Could we have a round of applause, please? Next, let's welcome Professor Dr. Mohammad Masoom Iqbal, Dean, Faculty of Business and Entrepreneurship, Daffodil International University, Bangladesh. Could we have a loud round of applause, please? Next, we'll welcome on stage Mr. Bishwadit Ghosh, co-founder and CEO of Nabin Entrepreneurship Foundation in India. Could we have a round of applause, please? Yeah, please go ahead. And then let's welcome Dr. Zhao Meng, senior lecturer at Nanyang Business School, Nanyang Technology University, co-director of YSBC at Renmin University of China. Could we have a big round of applause, please? And last but not the least, Ms. Simona Sinesi, SDA Bocconi Milan, Yunus Business Center Director from Italy. Could we have a round of applause, please? So my request to all speakers is to take seats. We'll go one by one. You have 4 minutes for the updates. We will have somebody at the bell to support us with a time indication. Wish you all the best, and let's get started. All right, if we go by order, Professor Mahfouz, would you like to take stage first? You have 4 minutes. Yep, you can take it from here, wherever you want, whatever makes you comfortable. Sure, go ahead. Yeah. Can we have his slides up, please?
I might not be very one. Anyway. Slides, please. Slide.
Could we have the slides up, please? Just 1 minute as the slides are put through. Just give us 2 minutes as that's sorted.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. While there is much more promise on social business education and research, there is a need of combination of theory and the practice. Okay. Academics always lacks understanding the practical implication, whereas practitioners ignores the theoretical underpinning at a great deal. The social business toolkit here is a filling the gap of these situations. Next slide, please. Okay, right. This social business toolkit is initiated by the Yunus Center in collaboration with some of the other Yunus centers here. So the toolkit is a blueprint and the frameworks for practitioners, academics, philanthropics, policymakers to design the social business projects while implementing and measuring the social impact. The toolkit is a kind of turnkey projects where people would see how different kind of frameworks, including the canvas and other tools that might help to understand social business regardless to any background you have. The toolkits can be used in various ways. University can use as a semester-wise model, block mood models, and the practitioners they can use as a training manuals for all their staffs, trainers, and the policymakers. The toolkits is designed into the 4 distinct categories. The first 2 categories deals with the understanding of social business, while distinguish social business with other similar concepts. We all know about the terms of social entrepreneurships, social corporate responsibilities, social networks, so how the social business, especially the Professor Yunus social business, distinguish amongst all those 4 concepts. Let's try to understand a bit inside of each and every models. So I think I have only 3 minutes time, so let's see how far I can go with this. In the first modules, as I mentioned, that it has more theoretical foundations of knowing the principle of social business, framework of social business, and how you can distinguish all the social business from other similar type of concepts. It may have some confusions within the area of technology, because in IT or computing science, social business always refers to the mechanism of social networking, while it generates some revenues through user satisfaction. But this social business is something different from these angles. In the second part of the modules, we will try to understand the core foundations from business, health, social science, philanthropic organizations, engineering aspects for designing the social business project. We often use the Canvas business models for understanding the business models for social business, but there are some other mechanisms like user-based experiences, and also you can also understanding how to design the social business projects by considering the stakeholder analysis. So this is the part of the second modules. We will also try to understand the value chain analysis. We all know that VCA is much more convenient and a robust frameworks to understand how any particular business So these toolkits will shape your understanding how a grounded approach, that means the need from the ground, will be pulled out through a system, and that systems will be framed under this social business framework so that a layman can also understand the principle and aspects of the social business. In the third part is very important, which is the measuring the impact. We often limits our impacts on crude financial measurement, but these tools goes beyond the financial impact measurements that indicates social impact, environmental impacts, and also the sustainable impact according to the SDGs. So we implemented these toolkits across 7 different countries so far, mostly in the Asian-based, except Australia. And we also try to implement the same toolkits, especially the measuring the impacts from other nations. So in a summary, the toolkit is a comprehensive guideline and structure for everyone. It will give you some frameworks, documents, models for using the social business applications, designing the impact, and finally, you must have to know the proven impact of it. So in the next 3 months, we will try to adopt the social business frameworks to other UNIS centers. Hopefully in the end of September, we will try to organize the consultation sessions with all over the world and then see how it goes. So let's embrace this, adopt it as per you know, and also use while you measure the social impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause, please? Next up, we have Professor Dr. Mohammed Masum Iqbal. Could we have you on the podium or on stage, wherever you'd like? Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum and very good day to all of you. It's an honor and privilege for me to update, to highlight the initiatives of social business who are undertaken on our campus. I am from Daffodil International University. It is one of the finest and largest universities in our country. And probably we are one of the very few universities in our country which started dealing with social business since its inception, pioneered by our Sir Professor Mohammad Yunus. You'll be happy to know that, so in 3 levels or in 3 awards, we deal with social business because I'm representing faculty of business entrepreneurship. So I'm dealing with all the business departments. So as an individual in this faculty, I always try to make my students aware of social business because, you know, if I'm talking about traditional business, that is focused on profit. Everybody knows, right? But if we can encourage our students to see business through social business lens, right? Probably their understanding will be different and their contribution to the society or social well-being will also be different. So the point is that how we are dealing with all the social business initiative in our department, in our university. In 3 awards, only in 3 levels, we design all these social business courses or social business initiative in our university. The first level is we go for some short-term courses to build awareness among the students in our university as well as in my faculty or in our faculty. So the first program is Social Business Exposure Program, and it is a very short-lasting program or 3-day program to build the awareness among the students, and it is a regular program in our university, and we organize this we offer this course every semester, usually three times a year. So all the regular students join this program and they understand social business and so on. And definitely we are getting cooperation from Innocent as well in designing and implementing this course. And then we are having a lot of students exchange program with many foreign universities. So for the international students and local students, we organized international social business summer program or international social business winter camp or winter program and so on. So these are usually a 7-day program, and we get a lot of foreign students who come to our campus, stay our campus. We are having a lot of sessions with them. We are also having a lot of visits with social business companies in cooperation with the Yunus Center. So it is a full-length 3-credit course program. So if students are joining or participating in this course, they can get exemption in their universities too. And so they are the short courses, right? At the same time, since as our faculty is having different departments and we are running different programs, so we are having an MBA, and it is it is a very popular as a terminal degree MBA. So we are having a major in social business in our MBA program, and we started this major in 2018. 2018, so MBA in social business. So we designed all the courses, and we got permission from University Grants Commission through our academic council, syndicate, and so on. So we are running MBA in social business, and we are having a department by department of innovation and entrepreneurship, and we are having different majors in BET, Bachelor of Entrepreneurship program. And in BET program, we are having a major in social entrepreneurship too, social entrepreneurship. A few days back, I saw that social entrepreneurship is one of the top 10 official skills for the young individuals. So I understand the social entrepreneurship will be very useful for the youngsters for the next generation. So we are having a major in social, so Bachelor of Entrepreneurship in social entrepreneurship or in social business. So they're the degree programs, full-length degree programs, MBA for 2 years program for 2 years, and Bachelor of Entrepreneurship is a 4-year program. In addition, we organize some event-based programs. So, for example, on the occasion of this 15th Social Business Day, we have organized an international social business case competition. If I'm talking about, we are having more than 115 teams from different universities across this country. They participated in this case competition, and there was a rigorous screening competition and so on, and we organized it on our campus. Just a day before yesterday, we had the final grand finale on our campus. And at the same time, we are also organizing a social business plan competition on regular basis. Every year or every semester, we are organizing organizing this kind of initiatives or events on our campus. So our objective is, yes, essential learning business, but if you can make them aware about social business, if you can give them proper understanding about social business, probably they will be more contributing to the society. As well as we know that Bangladesh is the birthplace of social business and pioneered by Professor Yunus. So it is our moral and strategic responsibility to institutionalize social business education in our country. If you can do it accordingly, probably it will spill over. It will spill over and it will be followed by other universities, other countries as well. So that is all about the updates, what we are doing on our campus at Daffodil International University. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause, please? Next, I'd like to call on stage Mr. Zhao Meng. He's a senior lecturer at Nanyang Business School, Nanyang Technology University, as well as a co-director at YSBC at Renmin University of China. Could we have his slides up on screen, please? Thank you.
Thank you. So first, I'd like to say Professor Yunus has been a great inspiration to the development of social enterprise and social business in China. Because Professor Yunus, we started this Yunus Center at Renmin University of China, which is based in Beijing in 2017. Now, our purpose is to grow an ecosystem of social business in the country. So, and we try to carry on the legacy and spirit of Professor Yunus in our work. So we try to make sure that whenever our work progresses, the legacy of Professor Yunus can just keep growing in China. So let me briefly introduce what we have done in the past several years. When we set up the center, we try to work together with our partners to develop a network. So we try to grow the ecosystem across 4 core components: the identity, knowledge, community, and resource. And back to 2017, the idea of social business was just emerging in China. Not many people know about it. So we try to develop the kind of a self-knowledge across the entire field about who we are and what we do within several years. In order to achieve this, can I go to the next? Yeah. So we keep growing the network, recruiting new members, and we did research, we published books to answer 3 fundamental questions that we believe are relevant to develop the collective understanding of the field. The number 1 question is, what is social business, what is not? The second is, what is the difference between social business and traditional business? And third is, what is the unique challenge of running social business, and what is the strategy for addressing the challenge? And Professor Yunus wrote a recommendation for each one of these books, so which is a true honor to us. And in order to spread out the knowledge, we also developed a research forum, right, to encourage young scholars to study social business in China. And we provide the Yunus Social Business Research Award to identify the best research projects and celebrate them. And we also want to grow the community, but it must be a high quality community. So we work with a lot of our partners to develop a social business certification platform in China. So this platform provides very comprehensive services for the registration, certification, and the social impact management of social business in China. So in the last 10 years, we have certified more than 800 social businesses in China. They basically come from every provinces of the country. And our partners also try to introduce all kinds of resources to support this community. So for example, from 2014 to 2020, our partners have helped more than a dozen of local governments to develop supportive policies for social business in China. And in 2022, our partners launched the first equity exchange social business board in order to introduce investments into this community of certified social business in China. And just last weekend, which is the 8th anniversary of the Beijing Initiative. By the way, in 2017, we launched a Beijing Initiative on social business development in China, trying to set up a roadmap for the growth of the ecosystem. And last weekend was 8th anniversary, and more than 40 leading social business in China coming from all over the country gathered to review our progress, and more importantly, we set a 5-year plan for the development of the community of social business in China. So this is pretty much what we have done in the past 8 years. And looking ahead, we'll keep carrying the legacy of Professor Yunus and grow the ecosystem. But more importantly, we are repositioning our purpose. So we try to develop the center into a hub of an economic exchange, about the social business between China and Bangladesh, and over time generating impact in the broader region. So if you want to better understand the social business in China, want to develop collaboration, or want to include China in your own initiative on social business, please let's talk about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Bishwajit Ghosh, who's a co-founder and CEO of Nabin Entrepreneurship Foundation, India. Do we have a round of applause, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. In the next 4 minutes, I want to tell you a story of a YSBC's experiments in social business education. So the YSBC in question is a college in Bhopal, India. And me and the director of that college, we embarked on this unique program of teaching social business to students. Now, obviously, we say that people should become job creators, not job seekers. The educated youth is better placed to do this. But does young college students really understand what it takes to become an entrepreneur? Actually, entrepreneurship is a process. Do they understand that process? So next slide. So this, with the inspiration of Yunus Center, we embarked on this project. This started in the month of April. Next slide, please. Yes. So this work started in the Social Business Academia. Okay, so we had this conversation in Bangkok with Professor Yunus about starting this experiment in a YSBC in a very structured manner. Of course, we encourage people, young people, to get into social entrepreneurship, but we decided that we'll give them a proper curriculum. And let's have a look at what we did. So this program was launched in last SBD in Manila, and it had 3 phases. So if you see the first phase, we actually created a courseware which involved 2 parts. One is commercial entrepreneurship as it is. I mean, an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. So I tied up with the organization called Wadhwani Foundation, which creates amazing entrepreneurship courses. And we blended it with the elements of social business as per the philosophy of Professor Yunus. And based on that, we took almost 6 months to create this courseware. And we were ready in the month of October and November to launch this course. So we did a lot of discussions with students, and we roped in about 137 students who entered this course formally. And let me tell you, they paid for this course. In India, there's a concept of internships in colleges. So for 2 to 3 months, a college student is expected to embark on a formal internship on his area of interest. And in that college, 137 students chose social business. And this started off in the month of November and ended in February. So it's a 3 or 4 months process. And we had a formal assessment, which was supported by the local university. And we got everybody accredited. So what did it involve? As I said, the first part was generic entrepreneurship education, which covered almost 35 hours of classroom content. So it was done in a hybrid manner. So I had a central team based out of Kolkata and Delhi, who delivered courses to students who were in a classroom. And these students were actually having a local facilitator who was also properly trained in this methodology. So we had a lot of professors who worked with us in those previous 6 months. And then we had another 15 hours of content that we created especially on social business. We got that approved by Yunus Center as well. And while they understood these elements of social business, we actually took students to what I call track 3. We took them to social businesses and NGOs. And those are the list of NGOs locally in Bhopal where the professors took them and whatever they learned in terms of social business from the theory point, they saw it in practice through local NGOs and social entrepreneurs. And let me show you the output out of it. So these are some of the places that they visited. They went to cancer hospitals, they went for urban plantation drives, animation companies, ecotourism villages, medical screening in camps, in slums, fire safety. All these are run by organizations which are dedicated to the cause of social business. And as I said, we finally, based on whatever they have learned, we got the students to create teams of 4, and they presented their own business idea basis whatever they have learned. Basis that they were evaluated by the university examiners who came as part of the formal internship. And at the end, we actually did a survey. And I think this is the most powerful slide. We found that 90% plus people, they enjoyed the methodology of experiential learning, the understanding of theory, principles, as well as practical applications on the shop floor or in the various enterprises that they visited. And we got awarded in India in a global summit as the best entrepreneurship education idea. And we got certified by UNIS Center as well. So thank you, UNIS Center, for giving me this opportunity to run this experiment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for the lovely presentation. I will now invite Simona Sinesi. Is from SDA Bocconi in Milan and the director of UNIS Business Center over there in Italy.
Yes, I will not use the 4 minutes. I will use less because I want extra time next time, since I want to tell you the progress on the UNIS Center. Since I'm honored today to announce formally the opening of the UNIS Center at SDA Bocconi. SDA Bocconi is a school of business of Bocconi. It is ranked among the best top 5 university in the world, according to the MBA ratings and rankings. And I will be the director of the center. So basically, this century is the century of education. I'm not the first one to tell you, but we truly believe that we have the future leaders sitting in our classroom, coming from all over the corner of the world. So what basically we need to do in really strong delay, I have to say, is to inspire people to see the new civilization, as Professor Muhammad Yunus says. It took a lot of times to bring it to life, because when you try to do things differently, and I'm a professor of practice, I spent almost 20 years in big corporation, working for Coca-Cola, working for Unilever. So I asked to the rector to bring the UNIS Center there. And this was kind of quite a bit disruptive, since all the professors of economics were saying, we don't need social business. I truly believe we need to overcome the dichotomy between social entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. This is the thing. And we are on the shoulders of giants, and we can sense it. So we truly believe we can make the difference in the ecosystem and with the ecosystem to have a better world. So as Professor Yunus says, only if you can imagine, you can do it. And actually, I imagined it for a long time, and now it's a reality. So thank you. Donabad, I see you really, really soon.
Thank you so much. I think it's super exciting to see how much we've come so far in just 1 year. And I'm super excited to hear more about your updates next year, because I think we're going to hold you to that now. I'd request our esteemed speakers to stay on stage. We will take a photo. And with that, I'd like to welcome back Zina Tapu for that photo as well. Could we have you on stage, please? And could we have a round of applause for the exciting updates that we received? And I hope you all come back next year to see how things have been going since this 1 year.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for here. Thank you all the academics who provided us such wonderful updates. The WISE-BC network is now 114 plus strong, which is again an amazing feat by itself. Now we've got a very special spotlight session. Again, I know I've repeated of a lot of friends being here, but this is truly a long-term friend. As many of you may be aware, one of the first countries which started replicating the Grameen Bank model all the way back in the 1980s was the Philippines. Started off from Negros Occidental, and one of the other organizations and one of the other individuals who signed up to that and really championed that cause was someone by the name of Dr. Jamie Aristotle Alip. Aris Alip, or Dr. Alip as we know him, has been a great friend of the microcredit movement, of Professor Yunus's, and he successfully went on to found one of the largest microfinance institutions, I might dare say, not only in the Philippines, but across the world. We're honored to welcome Dr. Jamie Aristotle Alip, founder and chairman emeritus of CARD, or CARD MRI, one of the world's most impactful microfinance and social development networks, serving over 9.6 Filipinos as we speak. With more than 40 years of experience in poverty eradication, Dr. Alip is a Ramon Magsaysay Award winner, which so is Professor Yunus as well, and a visionary social entrepreneur whose work has transformed rural communities across the Philippines and beyond. Please join me in welcoming in this spotlight session, Dr. Alip. Can we have a huge round of applause for him?
Thank you very much, Prometheus, for that very warm welcome. Good afternoon, friends, ladies and gentlemen, leaders of the microfinance movement and the social business. Let me begin with a provocation. Access to finance is not always the solution. Sometimes it is part of the problem. We have spent decades and years building financial systems that are supposed to be inclusive. And yet, here we are. Billions remain excluded, not by accident, but by design. Because the truth is, much of the global financial architecture is built to serve capital, not communities. Let's face it. We glorify growth, but ignore inequality. We pour billions into fintech and digital wallets. And I've heard so many things here in IT. But we fail to ask, are the poor really benefited here? Are they better off or just more efficiently exploited? In reality,
in emerging markets, in third world countries, many of the poor don't have access on this infrastructure. What the hell are we talking about fintech? What the hell are we talking about digital wallets? We are also creating the new wave of poor. This is the digital poor. So I think this is something that we have to ponder. At Card MRI, we choose to take a different path. We believe that the poor, especially the poor women, we deserve not just access. To me, people are poor not only because they have no access or lack of access of credit or finance. It is because they lack control of resources. I have always believed in the golden rule. He who has the gold rules. And the poor must be given that capacity to earn equity, to own this financial institution. Not just credit, but control. And that means dismantling systems that treat them as mere borrowers and consumer, and rebuilding systems and see them as leaders, co-owners, and change makers. For too long, inclusive finance has been treated as a side dish, an optional add-on to traditional development. But let me be very clear. Without equitable access to financial capital, the cycle of poverty will not break. We will continue to meet here on, and the same issues will come out. No amount of skills, training, or digital application can substitute for real, patient, value-driven capital or purpose-driven capital or equity. But here's the catch. The model that truly work, the ones that empower rather than extract, are often the least funded. Let's face this. Why? Because they don't promise quick returns. Because they center the poor and not the investors. Because they disrupt the power structure, the traditional power structure, rather than maintain it. We move into the next session. And as we move to this next session, I challenge the panelists who will stand here before you. Whose interests are we really serving when we talk about access to finance? Are we designing systems that will liberate or systems that will bind? Are we funding innovation that benefits the grassroots or simply exporting solutions that look good on PowerPoint but failed on the ground? It's time to stop romanticizing access and start demanding accountability. Let us build financial ecosystem that doesn't just include the poor, but is co-created with them. One that prioritizes long-term transformation over short-term metrics. One that values trust over technology, relationship over transaction, dignity over data. If we're serious about social business, then we must be serious about reimagining finance, not as a tool for profit, but as a tool for injustice. But as a tool for justice. I think the most important thing, empowerment by giving them controls and not only access, is the key to success, to empowering the poor. Thank you very much, Donabat.
Thank you, Dr. Alip. Once again, our sincere gratitude, ladies and gentlemen. This is about the time when we will take a very brief break. Not too long, though. We will hopefully see each other in about 20 minutes' time. We've got incredible sessions coming up. So just to wrap up, before you leave, there's a special announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We have the pleasure of having the Chief Advisor, His Excellency Professor Mohammed Yunus, not in person though, don't get too excited. He will be joining us via an online Zoom link at 6:40 p.m. So the official proceedings of the conference will actually end with him joining, and we have a surprise for him. and he'll share a few words, right? So could we have a huge round of applause? The fact that Professor Yunus has actually made time in his very busy schedule, and a lot of people who you have seen here, the international delegates have been meeting with him all day, yet he's agreed to give us some time. So please stay with us, be patient so that we can join the absolute formal closing ceremony with him at 6:40. But our proceedings continue. There are a couple of more sessions to go, including a very special speaker who's arrived from us, who's arrived in the midst. 20 minutes break. Be back at about 4:20. Thank you, everyone.